Good evening and welcome to 27 Minutes here on WJTS 27. I'm Kurt Gutgsell. The Dubois County Solid Waste District and WJTS 27 thanks everyone who participated in yet another successful recycled Christmas contest. Here are the results in the 5 to 11 age group. The first place prize of $50 was awarded to Celia Nykum of Jasper for her Christmas tree ornament. The second place prize of $25 went to Alex Wire of Ferdinand for his sled ornament. Hannah Taylor of Huntingburg received honorable mention. In the 12 and over age group, the first place of $50 went to Melody Saylor of Ferdinand for her angel ornament. Second place of $25 went to Karen Ubelor for her bell tree ornament. Carla Nykum of Jasper received honorable mention. All entries demonstrated using items that would otherwise have been thrown away and recycled, thus reducing the amount of trash in our landfills by reusing things in other ways. Stay tuned. We'll have more 27 Minutes right after this. Welcome back. Earlier, OFS Brands of Huntingburg had some exciting news concerning expansion and a boost to the local job market. Here's OFS President Hank Minke.
This project started back in July of 2006 when myself had a meeting with Nate Feldman, who is now currently the CEO of the Economic Development for Indiana, as well as Kevin Reiniger, who is the president of Indiana State Chamber. And we started talking about, the assistance and what could be done, and we started talking about our growth and where we were going. It had already been here because of the dedication of the corporate office here roughly about 2.5 years ago, and what was happening in our business and the growth we were having. So anyway, we started talking. This thing actually started in July of 2006, and then we formed a committee that comprised of Mayor Kemp, who was definitely a lightning rod for this committee, along with, at that time, Connie Fowler, and then Judy Rieger. Judy, you then came in, stepped in, then after that, and of course Bob Brew was on that, and I think, of course, Rich Hazelwood, I know you've been a part of that thing, but this committee basically was formed and worked very, very hard to come together with the state and with an incentive package that is allowing us to move forward, which I'm going to announce here a little later. And before I do that, I want to introduce some very important people in my life, and I think it's very, very important. First of all, my wife, Becky, in the back of the room, and my mother, please stand.
Hello.
And my son Ryan, my oldest son Ryan, there he is in the back of the room, and my son John with Craftsman Construction. Where are you, John? There's something there. And that it really is remarkable when you think about the family generation. This is a family company, and then the fact that under my father's side, my son now, Ryan and John and Corey, they're now the 4th generation on my father's side. And under my mother's side, under that side of it, we're 6 generations on woodworking, to be in the woodworking business. That really is, you think about that, you don't even get past the 3rd generation in most businesses. And in fact, if you look at the statistics on that, that's unheard of in terms of that. So I'm very, very proud of that fact. And I think it's that heritage and that culture that makes what we are today. And again, we started out this company some 60-something years ago. We started out making wooden Venetian blinds and basketball scoreboards. And it's remarkable when we transitioned from that to residential to office. And now the many things that we're into the office furniture side, we're in trucking, we're in distribution, we're installing, we're now in the healthcare business, and healthcare furniture in North Carolina. And so it's growing substantially, particularly in the last 5 years. We have more than doubled and tripled our business. In fact, this last year we came out of, we're up 37%. That's unheard of in manufacturing. And to be up just in revenue alone, just that 37% translates to about $85 million just in revenue growth this last year. So it's pretty exciting. The fact that we're employing roughly 1,600 people in the county, in this area here, the fact that we have probably 2,000 in total when you take Carolina and Litchfield, Kentucky into a factor. It's been exciting times for this company. And again, we're with this growth also comes expansion, and we've got some critical needs in some of our manufacturing side. And with the city and with the state's help, we're able to announce today a roughly a $80 million expansion over the next 5 years, generating 300 employees, new employees. We're going to be expanding. We have a diagram showing, I think a handout we gave to most of you out there, that's out near 400 West out here, that's going to be involving, it's over years phases where we're adding on to our Plant 6, our lamination operation. We're putting in a heat generation wood burning system, totally green, because that seems to be the real theme in today's economy, or just the whole green theme. And then this thing is going to be environmentally as pure as you can get it, and using a lot of our byproducts and waste that goes back into the system. And then that's phase 2, and then phase 3 being a much larger facility where we move all of it into this much larger facility on acreage that were acquired, the 45 acres across the road there on 19th that will be a part of that. Which, so we're very much excited. And like I say, we could not even think about doing this if it wasn't for the state's and city's assistance on doing this. And we're quite proud of it, we're excited about it. We're saying 300 jobs, but I think we're going to blow right past 300 jobs very, very quickly. And most of these jobs are going to be in the high-paying jobs. They're not going to be in the low-paying. They're going to be in that $16, $18 range in terms of the wage rate that's going to be in. So we're very, very excited about it. Because anymore today, with the way this industry is going, it's becoming very high-tech. And the equipment we're buying today, all is computer integrated and all integrated through our engineering staff. And there's just a tremendous amount that goes on that integrates the whole thing. So without further ado, first of all, I want to recognize that, again, this project could not have started if it wasn't for the partnerships that we have with the state of Indiana and with the city of Huntingburg. It just could not have happened. And I really do appreciate both Mayor Kent and Becky. And I think Becky's going to have a few words to say. Please.
Glad you cheered at that announcement. What exciting news. And Hank, thanks for your kind words. Pleased to be back. Delighted to be here. This is a very exciting day for Huntingburg, for Dubois County, and for the state of Indiana. We are delighted that OFS has decided to expand their national headquarters, their manufacturing operations here. They are also continuing on with this trend of good companies creating more good jobs for Hoosiers, and that is indeed a reason to cheer. Always a pleasure to be with my fellow elected officials. Mayor Kemp, great to see you again. And we have city officials with us, Dubois County officials, my partner at the State House, Connie Noss, good to see you again, Connie. And all the community leaders here who work so hard to improve the quality of life on a daily basis. Please know that together, working together, our efforts are indeed paying off. The governor and I have been on the road a lot lately. We've been in communities all over the state of Indiana. We've been celebrating new jobs, and it's because our economy is experiencing great growth and progress here. And that's with the help of partners like OFS. All across the state, Hoosiers are wondering which community is going to be a recipient of more good jobs. Well, today we know that community is Huntingburg, and the new growth has a familiar face, and that's the face of OFS. The governor and I are delighted that you've chosen to grow your presence here in southern Indiana. Due to the success of your business, this significant investment of $81 million, now the community is going to benefit with more than 300 new jobs. The state was very pleased to partner with you to make this expansion a reality. We're delighted to have OFS as part of Indiana's economic hot streak. And you join this expanding, ever-growing list of companies that have decided to grow their headquarters here in Indiana. Headquarters locations with the high-paying jobs and with that community commitment that comes along with those headquarters. That's the best economic development news that a community and the state could ever have. Would also like to know that our announcement today helps us re-energize our hardwoods industry in the state of Indiana. Now, we are known around the world for our high-quality hardwood trees, making top-notch wood products as well. More than 95% of all of our trees are hardwoods. However, we've seen that growing competition from wood product manufacturers in Asia and in Latin America, just to name a few. So that's made it even more important for us to improve our efforts for the industry. Thanks to these successful companies like OFS, Indiana is maintaining a very thriving hardwood industry here. The governor and I realize that more than anything else, our job growth in this state depends on having a favorable business climate. And we also know that the strength of our economy is going to determine our successes all across the board, and that's why economic development remains the focal point of our entire administration. I think all of us in the room know that government does not create wealth, but it certainly can be a catalyst. It can be a friend to the private citizens who create that wealth through their own investment and through their own motivation. And OFS is certainly a partner in that mission. And today we celebrate another chapter in your company's commitment to the state of Indiana. So on behalf of a very grateful state, thank you for your investment. We look forward to watching your success continue to grow. Thanks for having me tonight. Our friend Mayor Gail Kemp, a good partner in progress on this project.
And welcome to Huntingburg.
My pleasure.
I can't pass up the opportunity. Bill Schmidt's coming. He's the mayor in the back row without the tie. I couldn't pass it by Bill, I'm sorry. Quite an announcement today, and I do want to go on record and just telling you that this particular project and this announcement is good not only for Huntingburg, but for all of Dubois County. I really want to congratulate Hank, Mickey, and your whole OFS team on what you're able to accomplish. You're in a competitive business, and you are running counter, I suppose, to some of the trends and leading the way, and Huntingburg is proud of you and what you're doing, along with all you guys that are working with you. OFS, in this commitment to expand its operation here in Huntingburg, is not only important for the economic progress, but I think the real message to this is something that Hank Minke said when we dedicated the event center a few months ago, that it's important for the business community to give back to the local community. And when I think about those words, and I look over and I see Phyllis and Bob, and the things that you've done for many years, Phyllis, provided jobs. It'd be interesting if somebody could figure out how much property tax you would pay. It'd be a lot. Very important to Huntingburg, to any community. And you've been instrumental in some really philanthropic type things. The rebuilding of the old town hall, which is a very nice thing. And you spearheaded that, and I suppose that was done in your administration, Connie, and the two of you working together with others accomplished.
I believe in Huntingburg.
Pardon me?
I believe in Huntingburg, in the Dubois County.
And we appreciate that. And it carries through generation to other generation. And we look forward to that continuing. We certainly hope it will. I also want to acknowledge something for the 10th time, I suppose. But these folks, when the public said, hey, you know what Huntingburg really needs is a community center, and we came forward with that survey and said, let's do it. You were the first ones to step forward with a substantial contribution to make that possible, and it is possible today. And it is a very successful operation at this time, along with a lot of help from a couple of folks I see lined up there. So we appreciate all of those things that you've done. Last year, Huntingburg had another reason to celebrate. As you'll recall, Farbest Foods also announced an expansion. John, you're shaking your head. Got anything to do with turkeys? I think so. That expansion of 150 jobs, coupled with your anticipated 300, that gives Huntingburg just in the last year or two 450 new jobs. That's, quick calculation, that's about 7.5% of our total population in 2 announcements. And that's a fantastic piece of growth. But in the Farbest case, stop and think that that also is totally unrelated to this kind of manufacturing and was a help to the whole economic picture, and that it's agricultural. But the important part, I think, is it couldn't be done by the company itself. It took cooperation. It took cooperation with the state. It took cooperation with Farbest, the county, and certainly with the city, and that we were able to use TIF funding to make some of these things possible. And I don't think it should be lost that we're very happy to step forward again and offer TIF funding, which you've already alluded to make your project reality. The 300 jobs are certainly welcome. The investment in Huntingburg from a tax-based standpoint is significant and important, and we do appreciate that. I would like to be able to tell you what we're going to do with the TIF funds, but I certainly haven't got a clue. And maybe Becky will be able to tell us what we're going to do with property tax here in a couple of months. But someday, when that gets settled out, then we'll know exactly how much money we've got to work with and what we can do. But I want to suggest something else that's lying out there and why this project is also important. More than just a job, more than just a tax base. 20 years ago, you negotiated with the state of Indiana and Indiana Department of Environmental Management an interlocutory agreed order that Huntingburg would work towards removing I&I from our sewer system. We have been notified that that has been extended 2 years ago for one last time. So there are 3 years left before that must be resolved. And Huntingburg has a plan to resolve that. And by one of the concerns I've always had is flooding at the plant. But if we had that dirt we could dig out of the pit, we could eliminate this problem. Go back, Becky, and tell them the real question is how big a pit do we need to dig? I don't think we need to wait to know what comes floating by like they think we do, but we do need to dig one, and we're glad to do that. And as a result of Hank's announced expansion and our need, I don't think you mentioned it, but we've also been the recipient, or will be the recipient, of a $500,000 Okra grant to help fund that project. And not to go back and something that was not so pleasant, but with the announced closing of St. Joseph's Hospital slightly under a year ago, Huntingburg became eligible to apply for a federal grant. And we think we're in pretty good shape to receive an additional $1 million for that project as a result of St. Joseph. Those 2 grants, along with the necessary funding that the city will have to do, can resolve the interlocutory agreed order. And why that is important is if we're not able to resolve that, we could go onto a sewer ban, and that would really put a halt to economic growth in this community. That is unacceptable, and we must work towards that. And you're important, your people are important, and what you're doing is important. So we're on. And we thank you so very much for your commitment.
Okay, I think if now if there's any questions that need to come up or be asked, we'd be happy to entertain those questions. I think after this, if anybody hasn't, I think most of you have been through the corporate office, and if you haven't, we have some people in the back of the room that would be happy to take you through if you haven't gone through before. Love because we're very, very proud of this facility and what it's done for us in terms of our sales and our growth. In fact, when I built this thing, I guess, like I say, 2.5 years, 3 years ago, we're at capacity in this building. We're already shifting jobs out of this facility out back to Plant 1, the old executive furniture plant. And again, it's a pretty exciting time. Mayor Smith, I apologize. You're behind the camera there, and I didn't see you in county. I apologize too. I know there's some other people I've missed too. A lot of the city people are here too, so again, I apologize for that too as well. But any questions regarding the expansion? Like I say, it's pretty well in the handout. Shows you kind of where we're going. It doesn't show you how the different phases are. But again, we're so excited about this program. It is our future. It is our whole manufacturing. You know, I ain't talking about manufacturing anymore in this country. It's becoming a scarcity in our country. It's not that, unless you can really carve out a special niche, and I really think we have that special niche, and I'm just so excited about our future, where we're going, where we're heading. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we haven't seen anything yet, and we got a great team of management around me. I can tell you, I can't thank you enough for the guys that do this every day, work at it hard every day. I've got a great team, and that's what it is. It's got a great team, and the support of the family, and the support of my wife, and it's going on. But anyway, any questions anybody would like to have regarding the project, or anybody have any questions about it? If not, we're adjourned. And thank you. Like I say, it was fun. You'd like to go through, please.
That's good news for the community and, of course, OFS Brands. This will wrap up this edition of 27 Minutes here on WJTS 27. For the entire crew, I'm Kurt Gutgsell. Have a great night.